Hello, this is Frida Liu. You're watching The Shift to Asia. The Sustainable Development Goal for Clean Water and Sanitation is Goal 6, which aims to ensure that everyone has access to safe and affordable drinking water. Olivier Estienne is the Country Director for Malaysia at Veolia Water Technologies Asia Pacific. So very nice to be meeting you, Olivier. I was doing some research around Veolia and I didn't realize it's a company that's been around for forever, right? So maybe you can tell us a little bit about Veolia, the Veolia Group, and also Veolia Water Technologies and what you all do.
Sure. Thank you very much for having me today. So indeed, Veolia is a French-based Fortune 500 company that has been operating for more than 170 years in water, waste, and energy management. So we are now 218,000 people trying to make the company the benchmark company for ecological transformation. Water is about 40% of our revenue. Okay. At Veolia Water Technology, we deliver on both performance and sustainability without compromise. Okay. This is for our municipal as well as our industrial customers. So in Malaysia, we've been here for 30 years. We design and deliver water treatment solutions, for example, for drinking water, purified water, ultra-pure water, as well as wastewater treatment. And we also provide total management services. It could be simple water audits, as well as full O&M contracts for our industrial customers, with the target to reduce their consumption of water, electricity, and chemical, hence, at the same time, reducing their operational costs. So the target for us is actually to deliver peace of mind to our customers, knowing that their business as well as their community is safeguarded.
Right. So that's the group, and maybe we're going to go specifically to Veolia Water Technologies and your approach to sustainability.
So sustainability is at the heart of our purpose, which is ecological transformation. Our target is to reconcile human progress together with environmental protection. So Veolia has developed its GreenUp strategic plan, which is for the period 24-27, and it's based on 3 pillars: to decarbonate, to depollute, and to regenerate resources. So we work with municipalities and industrial customers in order to make that GreenUp program happen, which is basically accelerating the development of the solutions that we already have, as well as developing and innovating in order to create the solutions of tomorrow.
Right, so decarbon,
depollute, and regenerate resources. That's circular economy.
Right, the circular economy. So what do you think sustainable water management is such an essential part of climate action, and how do you all address this need?
For us, water is too precious to be used only once. So although the Earth's surface is actually 70% of water, only 1% of that water is fresh water that we can actually use. Right. If you take today in the world, about 4 billion people actually fear of water scarcity at least once a month during a year. Right. So our target is to bring a solution to this and make sure that we have water security and resilience. If you take Malaysia, for example, we consider that water is quite abundant and affordable, but it's actually not exactly true. Okay. There are plenty of articles published in the last few months, few years, especially in The Edge, as well as in the Penang Monthly, the last edition, mentioning possible water crisis in Malaysia. 3 aspects linked to that water crisis. The first one is heat waves, of course, linked to climate change, which have a tendency to reduce actually the water storage that Malaysia has. Second thing is pollution from industrial effluents. We know that these industrial customers may pollute freshwater sources if wastewater is not treated properly. This is what happened in 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗃𝗃 a few years ago, which was a disaster. And the third thing is probably new types of pollutants. We call them micro-pollutants or PFAS or endocrine disruptors. Those new type of pollutants are now present in the wastewater, in the freshwater sources, and need to be treated.
What is this new
micro-pollutants?
Yeah, where did
they come from different chemical, for example, that are used in the industry. They come from the shampoo that you use, the things that you eat. Everything that we use that has a bit of a chemistry inside actually has an impact and can be found inside the freshwater streams. They don't typically like PFAS, that is the Teflon that is on your cooking utensils. They don't disappear. They remain inside the water, and of course, we ingest them as well.
Okay, so it's not that we lack water, we have a lot, it's just the access to clean drinking water and sanitation is our challenge, right? Now, I know like some of the projects that you've worked on include the drinking water treatment plants with Asian Development Bank in Vietnam, the Shenzhen 𝗷𝗂𝗀𝗃 incineration plant in Guangdong, China, and the 𝗓𝗏𝗃 water supply project in Sri Lanka. Can you tell me about these projects? And I'm sure the needs are different for
Exactly,
these different countries.
that's true. Yes, throughout my career in Veolia, that has been for 23 years now today, I've had the chance of developing access to drinking water. This is what we did, for example, in 𝗓𝗏𝗃𝗃, as well as in Vietnam, as well as to treat wastewater and sludge in China. So I started my career as a young site engineer, I would say, in France, and then I moved to Vietnam. So with Asian Development Bank funded the construction of 4 drinking water treatment plants.
Okay.
So there we used our multi-flow clarification technology as well as our 𝗓𝗏𝗃𝗃 filters in order to transform river water into tap water.
Okay.
And you know that when you start drinking water in a new city, then it's the beginning of life, it's the beginning of business. In 𝗷𝗂𝗀𝗃𝗃 in China, actually I spent 13 years in China. I worked on several drinking water, wastewater treatment plants, especially with our biosphere, biological treatment technology, as well as our 𝗓𝗏𝗃𝗃 as tertiary treatment to reuse wastewater for landscaping. And one of the projects that we designed and built was the 𝗷𝗂𝗃𝗃 incineration project, which is based on pyrofluid technology.
Okay.
So this is a sludge treatment technology.
Right.
So sludge is actually the residual that you get from wastewater treatment.
Okay.
And today we generate huge quantities of sludge that need to be treated.
Okay.
They can be digested, reduced in volume, they can become fertilizers, and the ultimate solution is actually to incinerate them so that they disappear. And the last one was 𝗓𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃 project. So this was a real adventure. We started with only 2 members in the company there. We finished, we were a team of 70 and more than 1,500 people working on the project. This was to bring drinking water to 5 cities in the center of Sri Lanka, as well as build the 500 kilometers of network that were necessary. So it was a great challenge, a great success. And again, this is a way to start bringing drinking water in population that have less development in order for them to thrive and have economic growth.
I'm very interested with the story in China. Like, what was this previous solution before you all came about? What happened?
But usually when we use sludge, we actually remove the water from it, we dewater it, and often it can go to landfill in the municipalities. And you know, landfill, for example, in Malaysia, they are full, they smell, so it was necessary to develop new technologies to treat sludge.
Right.
And so incineration is part of it. It's the same as incineration of waste. Today in Malaysia, there are a few incineration of waste facilities, and they are an alternative to putting that waste into landfill.
Right. Okay. So I know you mentioned a little bit earlier on, but what are the water concerns and needs in Malaysia? So you're talking about the possible heat wave, any other things that we should be aware of?
Sure. If you look at the water sector transformation 2040 that was released by the government, I think there are 3 main challenges. The first one is water security and resilience. So we know that there is water in Malaysia, but it's not equally distributed.
Right.
You have floods on one side, drought on the other. So the government pledged for what they call integrated water management service at the national level. That's number 1. The second is probably the pollution. So we talked about industrial effluent pollution. We talked about new micro-pollutants. That's also a big risk.
Right.
And that's what the Malaysia government has to face. So today, I think the water sector has a lot of players. We need to make sure everybody work together, whether they are institutions, the government, companies with technologies as us, so that the technologies or patents that we have, which are more than 350 technologies for water treatment and 4,400 patents, can be used in order to develop and make sure this integrated water management system happens. Yeah.
And I guess you work with them in terms of finding solutions as well, in terms of water management. Because I remember one time at home, and there was a water cut. And there was no access to water, but it was raining outside. It's just like the irony, right? And it's just like, there's something wrong with this picture. So I guess that's the whole aspect of water management.
You are fully right. Actually, what you are mentioning is aging infrastructure and pipeline. Right. Most of the time in Malaysia, water cuts are linked to maintenance work that have to be done on the network. One of the challenges that Malaysia has is non-revenue water is above 30%. So non-revenue water is actually the water that is treated, but doesn't go to the consumer because of leaks on the network. Right. And this is an important issue that the government is looking at. I think they have set target to reduce that non-revenue water to 23-25%, if I recall. And that's a big challenge. So it requires investment. It requires probably water tariff also to go up.
Yes.
We know that water is very, very affordable in Malaysia. Even if it has increased a little bit this year, it needs to increase more in order for the water operators to have the money to start doing preventive maintenance instead of corrective maintenance so that you don't suffer from water cuts.
And I get it, right? I mean, if you look at electricity compared to water, it is really, and it's like, how do you even sustain that? How do you even manage that? So I know these conversations is going on. As a consumer, we will make a lot of noise, but at the same time, realistically,
that's true.
It is going to be a challenge, right? So one of your solutions, the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Advanced converts the COD load. Okay, so this is a lot of technical jargon for me, right? So present the wastewater into biogas, which serves as an alternative source of energy for your production site. What is that? And is that being used in Malaysia?
Yes, so our BioBed EGSB as well as USB technology are advanced, high performance, very compact anaerobic treatment designed for industrial effluents. Okay. So they use granular sludge as a technology in order to, let's say, transform COD, which is a pollution in wastewater, into biogas. Okay. And biogas becomes actually an alternative to using natural gas, which has a lot of carbon emissions. So this technology has three main advantages, and it's a good example of ecological transformation. The first thing is it treats wastewater pollution. So that's the depollute part. The second thing is that through this depollution, we are able to generate this biogas that is a good example of circular economy that is going to be used to generate electricity on the verge to getting net zero. It means those plants can work at net zero without buying additional electricity from the grid. Okay. And at the end of the day, also using this technology, you reduce that sludge, the waste that I was mentioning, by more than 50%. So yes, this technology is already there in Malaysia. It's applied quite widely, I would say, in the region, in Southeast Asia. And it's used in the food and beverage industry, as well as the palm oil or chemical processing plants. Okay.
I remember someone showed me from Water, human waste is now being used as fertilizer, right? I mean, that's that kind of thing, right? You have the GreenUp program,
yes.
Right? And I believe that's your company's commitment to ecological transformation from 2024 to 2027 to accelerate the deployment of concrete solutions while fostering innovation to depollute, decarbonize, and regenerate resources. So 2024 it started. So what's the progress now? What are the plans by what will we see by 2027?
So by 2027, I'll give you a concrete example of our GreenUp plan. The company aims at eliminating 18 million tons of carbon emissions. Okay. We are targeting to treat 10 million tons of hazardous waste and to save 1.5 billion cubic meters of fresh water. So it's not only financial numbers, it's not only talks. We have set ourselves very clear, ambitious targets in order to prove what we want to do in the GreenUp plan, which is to decarbonize, depollute, and regenerate resources. This GreenUp plan actually is the continuation of the Impact 2023 plan that we had in place that developed our purpose and set our ambition to become the ecological transformation benchmark company. And our purpose is really to contribute to human progress and to reconcile it with actually environmental protection. So if we look at all the challenges that we have talked about through our technologies and patents, we are able to develop the solutions for water treatment that will allow us to achieve our ambition.
Right, and I guess just a final question is, what is the broader impact of sustainable water management on climate change mitigation? And what role do you see digital innovation playing in sustainable water management? And I guess, how is Veolia driving this shift?
To digitalization.
Yeah.
In terms of sustainability, of course, water management plays a crucial impact in sustainability. We talked about protecting diversity and protecting freshwater sources. We talk about water resilience and water security. We talk about circular economy by, for example, developing energy through waste. And we talk also about treating pollution in general. I'm very proud to say that Veolia has been at the forefront of digitalization for a while already. Right. We have those beautiful solutions that are inside what we call our our upgrade digital solution. So the first one, for example, that I want to mention is upgrade water footprint. So this is a digital solution that brings a dynamic view of the water mapping of an industrial customers. So today, many industries don't actually know where they use water. Right. Of course, they use water in their production, but they use them in their cooling tower, in their boiler, in their toilets, right, in their landscaping, in their canteen, in many places, but they don't really have an idea of how much of that water is consumed. So that digital solution brings that dynamic view of the water mapping, and then, of course, we bring observation, remarks, and suggestion for improving their water mapping index and reducing their water consumption over time. Second solution, upgrade performance. Again, a digital solution aimed at municipal customers. Here, this solution has been in place now for 6-7 years. It has been developed over, I would say, 30 years, and it allows to reduce chemical and electricity consumption by more than 15 to 30%. So if we take cities, for example, they will benefit from this technology, especially companies like 𝗓𝗏, in order to reduce their operational costs, right, make savings, and invest those into aging infrastructure, for example. And last one I want to mention is our 𝗓𝗏𝗃 carbon emission calculation tool. This is a beautiful tool that we have developed 15 years ago, before we talked about sustainability, right, about carbon emissions. 15 years ago, people were not very interested. And they were not interested. We had developed a fantastic tool, but it was not the right time. But now, with the increase in sustainability and the requirements for companies to monitor what they do, 𝗓𝗏𝗃 carbon footprint is a great, right, tool in order to measure and, again, get recommendation on how to reduce your carbon emissions on the water forefront.
Anything else you'd like to add, Olivier?
No, it's been a great time. I believe Malaysia has set great plans inside the new industrial master plan, or, for example, the water sector transformation 2040. And if we are able to have all the actors of the water sector work together, not only will we reduce the risk of pollution, but we will also safeguard our communities, make sure that water security and water resiliency is out there and is a reality, and that basically our children have a better future.
Right. Thank you very much, Olivier. And of course, you've been watching The Shift Asia.